I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't usually like watching movies that are in other languages because, quite frankly, I don't like to read while I'm watching a movie. If I wanted to do that, I'd pick up a book. But I may have to reconsider that stance now, at least for a few movies, because this movie was incredible. Let's talk about it. Riders of Justice is a Danish film starring Mads Mikkelsen, and like I said, it's subtitled for the entire runtime. Obviously, it's in Danish. And right near the beginning, there's this scene where a character is sort of presenting his algorithm to this room full of people, and he's going on and on about the stats and the predictions it can make and consequences, and it's numbers and numbers and statistics, and it's overwhelming when you're reading it, and that was almost enough for me to be like, no, I cannot do it. But I promise you, stick with it through that scene and you are going to see an incredible bit of movie making. The basic plot of the movie is a revenge flick, vigilante justice story. Mads Mikkelsen plays Marcus, whose wife is tragically killed in an accident that it turns out may or may not have been caused by a biker gang known as the Riders of Justice, and Marcus sets out to settle the score. You've seen that a bunch of times, right? Sure, but that's just the outline of the movie. The warm hug around an incredibly deep, heartwarming, sometimes hard to watch, yet perfectly comedic story about a group of absolute misfits who share a bond that probably wouldn't have happened had the events that bring them together never happened. I want to gush about this movie and talk about absolutely everything because it really is that well done, but I also really don't want to spoil anything because I do think any movie lover needs to see it, or anybody who has a passion for foreign language films. Oh hell, anyone at all. Yeah. Anyone who can stomach some pretty brutal violence. It is a revenge movie after all. Brutal violence and some topics that can only be described as mature content. That descriptor is the perfect way to describe what's happening in this movie. Every single one of the main characters has heaps upon heaps of personal problems and issues that on one hand absolutely are holding them back in life, but also make them who they are in this story that's being told. And every single one of them is handled in an immensely respectable way. In that sense, I've never seen a movie like this. Now sure, there may be other movies out there like it, but I've never seen them. If you know who Mads Mikkelsen is, then you know how much of an understatement it is when I say that his performance in this movie is incredible. He is an awesome actor, and I haven't seen a single one of his performances where he hasn't brought his all. And this movie is no exception, but it is more of a slow burn performance, if that makes sense. I almost think his performance is overshadowed just a little bit by the actor who is playing the character of Otto. I don't know who the actor is that's playing him, but I like to call him Danish Jason Bateman. You won't be able to unsee it now. His performance was superb. He's the character that sort of kicks everything off. He's the one that presents the idea that maybe the accident wasn't just an accident. And as we slowly learn more about him, and this can be said, I guess, for all the characters, but him specifically, you really start to feel for him and understand what it is he's going through. Actually, that could be said for all of them. There's 4 main characters. Well, I guess 7 if you count the supporting ones, but 4 main ones. They're just all so good. I sure hope they've all had lots of work in their life, and if they haven't, they sure as shit better now. Like I said, they are all messed up in their own ways, and very believable ways that allow each of the actors to show an incredible amount of range that really is a treat to see. I say treat because it's pretty dark subject matter. It's not stuff that you're just gonna casually talk about over like Sunday brunch or whatever. But regardless, it's really effective. It's a combination of great writing, superb directing, and amazing performances. We just don't get movies like that very often these days. And this is the kind of movie that just reminds me the entire time I'm watching it, albeit maybe not the first few minutes, about why I love movies. When a film can balance all of the very different stuff it has going on in such a seamless way and still be entertaining, that's an incredible feat of movie making. Do I wish it was in English? It's hard to say. Maybe? But then I would be concerned that the humor would just not have the same timing and therefore not the same delivery and then not be as humorous, and then things would just start to fall apart. I just really don't like subtitles. I never have. And I'm not all of a sudden gonna only want to watch foreign language films. Not at all. The last one that I watched and did enjoy was Parasite, and as good as that film was, in my opinion, Riders of Justice is better. Just from a these are foreign language films perspective, they really can't be compared on any other level. Vastly different. I feel like I can't say it enough, but this movie really did have what feels like a perfect balance of so many things. Great action with tons of guns, sharp and hilarious humor that I kid you not had me laughing out loud on more than one occasion, sweet, sentimental moments that really make you feel, and other moments that I have to respect the movie for not shying away from. It's a story that deals with faith, science, intelligence, human conditioning, coincidence, mental disorders, real, raw emotions, and just so much more. I don't know how they did it and not have the movie feel completely overwhelming, but they did. I like this movie so much that it made me want to bring back a scoring system just so I could say that Riders of Justice is a 10 out of 10. It's something you need to watch, especially before it gets a half-assed English remake. So what about you? Have you seen Riders of Justice yet? If you have, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. And if you haven't, you can find it on pretty much any digital storefront that you can find, and it's like $5 to rent. Highly recommend it. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. It's a story that deals with faith, science, intelligence, human conditioning, coincidence. Oh my God, I almost did it! Coffee. Where's my coffee? It's right in front of my face.